Well done.
Okay, thanks.
And your and your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, so I'd like to talk to you about the tool I wrote. Started writing about 2 years ago. It's called Manalizer. It stands for Malware Analyzer. And yeah, it's a tool I wrote to automate a lot of the operations of what I was doing manually while doing some malware research. So basically, in order to explain to you what the tool is, I think the best way to go about it is to show you the architecture. I'll talk to you about the architecture a little bit. So basically, Manalizer is a PE parser, hopefully a robust one. So I spent quite some time studying all the intricacies of the PE format because I was expecting to be parsing some malformed files. It's a PE parser which is built with against Yara, which I think is a tool most of you know. And the objective of the tool is to give all the information extracted by the PE parser to a set of plugins, which are going to pick inside the information and then generate data that are going to give you an idea of whether the program is malicious or not. And of course, at the end of it, there is a report system that's going to centralize all the data generated by the plugins and then show you a nice report in JSON format or in a human readable format. So here are the plugins that I developed for this tool. There is a CLAM AV and PID signatures that are built in. So CLAM AV signatures are not all processed because some of them are very complex and do not translate very well to Yara rules. I do some compiler detection. Look for suspicious strings like cmd.exe and so forth, and etc. Also look for some special registry keys that are used in VM detection techniques, etc. I also look for cryptographic constants. I have some heuristics for packet detection. Malicious import combinations, like, for instance, create a temporary file and shell execute, which might indicate that a program is a dropper. I also look for suspicious resources like PE files or PDF files or packed and files which have generally a high entropy. I also do some authenticate verification. So far, it only works on Windows. I would like to implement this on Linux, but I would have to use OpenSSL, and so far I'm not a bit reluctant to dig into this. And finally, the program can submit hashes to VirusTotal. So it has been released a few months ago on GitHub. This is the first time I've talked publicly about it, so far nobody uses it. But it's so far you may be thinking that it doesn't bring anything new to the table, and this is true that there are other tools that do quite the same thing. But I think what Manalizer brings is it's a fully open source solution. It's released under the terms of the GPL v3 license, and also it's multi-platform, so it works on Windows, Linux, and also BSD. The source code is available on Linux on GitHub. Sorry, there's also a web portal on which you can upload samples. Okay.
No, go on.
Oh.
That's my Twitter.
So if you want, you can submit samples online if you don't want to compile the tool yourself. And finally, it's easy to contribute because I've written extensive documentation, so feel free to write your own plugins and let me know about them. So I'd like to show a quick demo, but I think I'm going to be a bit short on time. So in the end, I'll just talk about future work. So I need more unit tests. Right now, the code coverage is not that good. It's around 30%, I think. I'd like to write code to generate flow graphs because I think so far there's no really good library that does this. And I'd like to improve the web portal as well. So I'd like to have a better search functionality, like to be able to look for samples that have a particular characteristics, like having SHA-1 constants and some particular combination of imports, etc., etc. And also, if I get enough samples uploaded, then I may be able to work on the clustering features, like show me more malware samples like this one. So that's it. So please don't hesitate to come and talk to me if you're interested in this project. And thanks for listening to me. Okay, I'll try to show you a sample report if I.
Demo?
Yeah, I think.
Time is suspended.
Yeah.
You wish. You can always drink more whiskey.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so. Oh, it's a bit difficult to. Where's the? How do I go up?
Right, stop there. You want some more? Yes. Yes. And your 5 more minutes starts now.
Okay. So this is a sample report generated by the tool just now. So basically, it shows you all the relevant information. There is also a dump option that will display any information contained in the PE structure. It can parse the iOS headers, etc., and display everything. But I think that's not very relevant in the context of the demonstration. The most interesting thing, I think, is that there is a feature that iterates through all the PE resources and looks for different languages that might not have been patched by the malware author. So this sample was taken from the APT1 Siesta campaign that took place during I think it was January 2014. So we can see that in this binary there was a language that was still embedded in it. It came from possibly China. Yeah, I know.
APTs.
So some of the program's plugin that works. So we can see that there is a ClamAV signature that is known for this particular sample. There's a PEID signature, a compiler. There are des constants embedded in the malware, and having reversed it manually, I can attest that this is true, and the malware did use a DES for its communication with the CNC. There are also a couple of import combinations that are interesting because even without having to look at the binary itself, we can already know that we can infer that it's possibly a dropper. For instance, we can look at the resources as well. The resources amount for more than 90% of the executable, plus there's a PE inside this. And finally, the hashes have been submitted to VirusTotal just now. There are 40 out of 56 antivirus that know this sample to be malicious. So just without having to put the malware in the IDA, you already get in a quick glance I think quite good idea of what you can do, of what the malware capabilities are, and what you can do with the tool. So thank you very much for your attention again.